It is 7 o'clock. Henderson City Council meeting Wednesday, September 18th, 2024 is called to order. First order of business is the minutes of the August 21st, 2024 meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, I will move to adopt said minutes.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion made and carried. Next order of business is to open a public hearing concerning ordinance 243, amending chapter 205 pertaining to charges assessed by the Henderson Area Fire District.
May you take that?
Yes.
All right. Tim, Randy, and I have been discussing some issues that had popped up concerning the fire district's billing for service charges. How it works right now is when the fire department responds and their response is finished, they then bill individual municipalities and townships. The individual municipality and township will pay the fee that's assessed by the board. And then we pass that on to people within our taxing authority or taxing jurisdiction. And there was some ambiguity in our ordinance, and there was also just some outright conflict in our ordinance between our ordinance and what the fire district board does in terms of billing and collection of charges. What this amended ordinance does is it clears up all of that ambiguity, and it clears up those inconsistent provisions between city and board policy and rules concerning collection. So nothing is going to change. The fire district board will continue to set the charges. They're going to continue to invoice the municipality. We'll pay it if it's appropriate. And then we will continue to collect on recipients of service. Basically housekeeping and cleanup is what this is.
So basically, if there's a fire within city limits, they'll bill the city, and then the city will bill the homeowner?
Correct. Correct. And this only applies to fire and rescue. This does not apply to medical.
So why can't the fire district just bill the individual?
I think
Is there a reason?
what we've been doing, and I think what we'll carry on, is that they do their own billing. And essentially, if they don't make that payment, I think they give them about 3-ish chances or something to pay
Okay.
that. And then
Yeah.
they'll probably bill the city at some point.
Gotcha.
Then we pay it, and then it would go from there.
Okay.
This just,
So is it stated that way in the ordinance, or? Yeah.
So everything that's crossed out is specifically just to simplify this because,
Correct.
So there's a lot crossed out.
There's a lot of cross.
right, so then there's an ordinance or policy from the joint powers that would include everything that's crossed out.
Correct.
Okay.
And then each township will do their own ordinance per se.
Correct.
Okay?
This old ordinance basically was passed and was in place when you guys had a municipal fire department.
Right.
And we just never changed it. Okay.
So,
So is this a first reading tonight, or is this, we're making the motion to pass it?
Tonight is your public hearing, and then yes, you would
And
pass it.
then next month we will,
So you could
or
pass
we
it.
can pass it tonight. Will it be rewritten without all of this crossed out stuff?
It won't. This is for the historical record, but
Okay.
the one that we will put in the ordinance book and the one that is online will be cleaned up.
Okay.
All right.
And the reason we include this marked up copy is so people know what was removed and what was inserted. But a cleaned up copy, I mean, it's not going to look like this online. It'll be cleaned up. Right, Kevin?
yes, absolutely.
And then would we be able to attach then the policy or the ordinance from the joint powers?
I wouldn't suggest doing that
No.
because then if they change that policy, then we'd have to do an ordinance change.
Okay.
So can they can they attach something of what their current fees are, so people know?
We could put that on our website.
That's, yeah, what I was kind of getting, I mean, because everything that's crossed out is.
Is it a different fee for a fire as for an accident?
It's their fee.
It's their,
So it's not
but
ours.
then it would, okay,
It would have to be theirs that they would do.
got it, okay. Okay,
But we could put their fee schedule on our website.
yeah.
I just feel like people would want to know.
Yeah, because there's a lot.
Right, and then you just
Probably
put a new
will.
one on each year. Every time you
Yeah.
change it, they need to submit it, and it's up.
Cities and municipalities and departments, they adjust those fees from time to time, so yeah, they'll change.
I have a fee schedule further in the back that I can just add to eventually once we go through.
Okay, that would, yeah, just those, I mean, I know we're not billing them, but it would be good to know.
All right, so if we adopt it, we need a motion, which I will make.
I'll make the motion.
Keith made the motion.
You can second it. Motion made, second. Motion, well, I did, and then I said,
It's double motion.
so motion made, seconded, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion made, carried.
And Tim, I'll get you a summary so that you don't have to publish the whole thing, that'll save you guys some money.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thanks for working on that. That's
Yep.
All right. Request to appear before the council.
I would like to, if you guys, I won't take up much of your time. I called Tim and he said that I could just show up and talk.
Yeah?
Nobody's gonna make me do 5 minutes this time.
Well, maybe I'll,
Depends if it's an agenda item or not.
No, I'm not gonna do it. No, so I wanted to clear up some things because I know you guys are riding my gears again and I totally, I don't want to be rude. I'm not, don't take this rude at all to anybody, but I was gone for 3 weeks on a bad excursion for some issues that happened in my family, and that's when everybody decided to take all these pictures and do all this stuff. So I did get behind on things like my vehicle registration, things like that.
I'm sorry, can you just say who you are?
Oh, I'm David Marlowe.
David, okay, thanks,
Yeah,
David.
and I live on 502 Cedar Street, and there is a thing out again against my house for vehicles. I guess it is this time, but I got the officer, Dan, yeah, been very great. He's been, and Eric's always very good. Have come and talked with me. When I got back, I registered everything. I just wanted you to know that I did run into some heart health issue problems, so I've been dealing with that too, so I got a little lazy. Anyways, everything is all registered and whatnot. My semi in my yard is getting plated and tagged in the next 2 weeks, so that will be done. The other vehicle will be plated and tagged. I have a 40-yard garbage container there right now for a bunch of necessary cleanup. I replaced 3 windows already in my house. I'm gonna try to start replacing siding before winter, some of it at least on the one side of the house, and finish off the stuff on my roof. I did order class 5 gravel because I know the ordinance that you guys passed the last time that you have to have gravel under the tires or something of a vehicle. But I want you guys to know, my wife, she delivers packages for Amazon, so she has a special car for that. Then she has her big vehicle where we can fit a school bus full of kids in. I have my work vehicle, and then we have a extra vehicle. The other vehicle, like I had said before, I still have a loan on it, so there's really nothing I can do about it. But I have done everything that you guys have asked me to do, you know, up till now, and Dan has taken pictures and everything of, you know, the updates since I've been home, because I was gone and I literally had to check my mail, I hadn't had nothing, I was gone for a month. So, I just want you guys to know, that's all being taken care of, and, you know, there's still a little thing that I would like to say is that, you know, you guys can come and talk, you know, there's a neighborly thing around us, and we all kind of live around each other. And it just doesn't happen anymore, but I've got a thing is that if you guys are gonna pass a motion to pass a ordinance in town, it should be for everybody. It shouldn't just be for the person that lives on 6 because it's on the main drag. And there's no way that somebody should say, well, I should understand that. That should go for everybody, because I've got about 60 pictures on my phone of people that got way more stuff and way more people. And then there's semis that have been in yards since I was 10 years old. I went to Hilltop, and there's semis in yards that, and other vehicles that, and I don't understand, you know, it's like, I know I got the ugly house. Yeah, I know that I'm not the wealthiest person in the world, but I'm trying. And like, I wish people would see that. I know I can't do everything, and I know, you know, I can't pay for everything, but like, everything's paid, and I'm trying. So the thing is I just wanted to come here to tell you guys, just like, instead of, you know, I should not have to have my neighbors and everybody come over and be like, why are the cops in your yard taking pictures? And I'm in Michigan burying a family member, and I got these calls. I shouldn't have to be babysitting and have to call Eric and say, hey, you know, I just had a minor stroke, so I'm in the hospital, so why are you taking pictures of my house? You know, you guys can you all go past my house every day. So please, if you got a problem, just, you know, come talk to me. That's all I ask. And I will do anything you guys want me to do. I don't want to have any issues. And this ordinance, and I totally understand it. But the thing is all I'm asking is be fair. Because if you're going to pass an ordinance, it shouldn't just be against the guy that maybe somebody don't like that's on, you know, in leadership. It shouldn't be against anybody, but it should be against everybody if that's what everybody's going to do. So I just wanted to leave you with that. I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
But and I know he probably sent you, I don't know if he sent you your update or whatever.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, that's what I mean. I've spent over $3,200 in the last 4 months. I reseeded, I put in rock gardens, I put in new grass, there's new sod now coming. I just bought 2 loads of class 5 to put in the driveway. The semi thing's being taken care of. Understand you guys, and on that, everything's pretty cleaned up around there. I bought a $600 roll, so, and the junk is all pretty much out and in ordinance, so if there is any more issues, you know, I hope I can address them for you. I just want you guys to know that I do wish that you guys would just be a little more equal on things with everybody and not just picking on, you know.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Police chief's report.
August 2024, Henderson Police Department. We have 28 assist public calls, 5 animal complaints, 11 assist other agencies, 1 arrest, 6 ordinance violations, 5 traffic citations, 26 traffic warnings, 105 directed patrol, and 4 info. Some of the serious stuff is we had 1 theft, 2 driving after suspension citations, 1 mental health hold, a citation for speed, a citation for careless driving, and a citation for exhibition driving. The 2024 squad preparation has been moved back to December of 2024 because they're like backed up with squads. They just can't get us in until December. And all of the equipment from EATI isn't even here yet either. They've ordered it and it still hasn't showed up yet, so we're waiting on that too. And then 2 weeks ago, they had to put a new water pump and timing chain in the 2019 squad. And I put one of the new radios in the Ford squad myself when I picked it up.
Somebody was asking for what is directed patrol?
That's when they're just doing something to be available and doing something poignantly to be around, basically is what it is. You know, like they decide to go patrol the park or something like that. That's a directed patrol.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. SEA's here?
They're not here. I just wanted to point out that we're, after this, there's roughly just retainage left, about 269,000 to pay yet total. Probably going to do last lift end of this month, and then it's just some remaining catch-up stuff, punch list for start October.
We're gonna do
We'll get a walk. Yeah.
before they pay for you.
Yeah, there should be a walk.
Maybe we could get much chipped up here. Maybe it wasn't jerky. Some chunks
Where is that?
up in the new area.
Curb, when they roll on blacktop, if they're not careful, they roll onto the edge of it. Because there's a lip on the concrete, and the second lift up. So it chips off.
That'll get repaired.
A couple areas, yeah. Spots like that.
Yeah, same issue in the last.
But we took a deduction on stuff. We may have to do that again. I don't know.
It's possible here just to click it.
We kind of come to a conclusion of no more complaints about the road being narrow.
I really don't get any of those tickets in our office group.
I probably get most calls on that.
Still?
I haven't got any in the last. I think I can sometimes explain to them that I actually went out there and measured it. It's not
That's
narrow.
insane, yeah.
They did, through Tim, ask that they stripe the intersection so people know what their lane is.
Yep.
Because if we would have built it wide and made a bank curve, we're just going to speed up traffic. And at the top of the Churchill, I mean, parking lot just continued. I mean, so it was the street to 110.
Just for the hell of it, they took the sign trailer up there and all that. I had no issues.
Yeah.
And how's that quarter by,
Building.
yeah. Most people are used to like cutting it short, but if you actually stay in your lane, it's fine, because I drove it over the
When they
weekend.
put that stupid blacktop on the outside radius, so the
Yeah.
trucks,
Yeah.
you gotta climb over a little bit to get around, and you have to, just common sense.
And it slows it down.
Yeah. Very
Make it
good.
easy, we'd be going 45 miles an hour.
And we still have heavy trucks around up there.
Yeah, and it's really,
Should be,
Slide it.
soon there should be some for
if we post it, yeah, because we have no way of, we have no way of
closed, it's the only way up there.
But if they're going out in the country, they can go on 19 day.
Right.
Is that what we're supposed to do? Is go out to Doyle's, go past Medicare and then come
Well, it
up?
depends on what's,
So if you're loaded extra traffic, yeah,
Yeah, loaded. I can understand.
there's no problem with empty.
Empty, no, okay.
well, we've never enforced,
And we're not gonna shut it down with Conrad having his business out there.
No, I wouldn't expect that. But that would be a smart thing, I understand what you're saying.
So they're gonna get a sign though for us, right? That's what we talked about last, that they're gonna put
Wait.
a 7-ton limit sign out there?
is that what we
Yeah.
are?
I thought we talked about 7, yeah.
I don't
That's
see
in the force, because we can't win.
Right, but at least it's,
Yeah. Point it out.
yeah.
All right. Now, back to the city attorney.
All right. Some of this flows from the planning and zoning meeting that we had last week, I believe it was. But essentially, what I want to address with you guys here tonight is the setting of a public hearing regarding some new zoning ordinances and amendments to some zoning ordinances, and then just a complete creation of a new chapter of city code. And all of this relates to the new THC or cannabis bill that the Minnesota legislature recently passed concerning recreational use of cannabis. You guys currently have a alcohol ordinance in place. You will have a cannabis ordinance in place as well. And what I have done here, I should back up a little bit. The state isn't issuing licenses yet, but they're starting to gear up. And I would think that in early 2025, they'll start issuing their state licenses. City isn't going to have a whole lot of control over this. It's mostly going to be run and operated by the state. They're going to have the applications for the various types of licenses. And, the city will have a little bit of say on this, but it's primarily driven by state law. And so the ordinance that I have proposed to you guys, ordinance number 244, which is going to be your general cannabis ordinance, essentially mirrors state law. And this is set up in such a way that when state law changes, yours will automatically change with it, and they're essentially going to mirror each other. And there are going to be a lot of changes over the next 2 to 5 years regarding this. In fact, there are already changes that happened just several months ago. I think the big thing from tonight that you should take away is, what we do here today is likely going to be changing in a couple of years as this unfolds. But essentially what we'll have is we'll have a general cannabis ordinance that'll govern the sale of recreational THC here in Henderson. And how planning and zoning has this structured is you can essentially dictate where these businesses are going to go. And we'll get into that in a little greater detail, but you can put caps on the number of licenses that are issued. And essentially what we have in here is a cap for one of the high potency dispensaries. You can certainly have more than one, but you have to allow at least one, according to the legislature. We've capped it at 1. We've also put a cap on the low potency stuff. The low potency stuff is essentially these small edibles that have 0.03% or less THC in it. These are the things that's been around for the past 1.5 years, 2 years. You may have seen them in gas stations, convenience stores. Some bars and restaurants sell infused beverages. That's this low potency stuff. We've capped those at no more than 6 licenses. And the reason we've got 6 is because you've got several bars in town, you've got a convenience store, who knows what else may come. We've got it capped at 6. And you guys are certainly free to either not cap, whatever you want to do, it's your town. But we in planning and zoning has it at 6 for right now. And again, it's something you can change in the future. If you get capped out and you want to allow another one, it would entail an ordinance change, and we would just simply set that at 7. We're following state law in terms of radio restrictions. You can require these businesses to be so far away from either a school or a daycare or a public park. Planning and zoning felt the state law restriction of 1,000 feet has to be 1,000 feet from school, has to be at least 500 feet. It can't be any closer than 500 feet to a park or a daycare. That's in here as well. We additionally, I believe we can set hours of operation just like we do with alcohol. We've got those hours of operation set in here. Monday through Saturday, for the high potency stuff, we have 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then on Sunday again for the low potency stuff, or for the high potency stuff, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. High potency or low potency stuff, we're just going to regulate that like we do alcohol again, because some of this stuff comes in beverage form. We're going to go to 1 a.m. on that, just like we do with alcohol. That's what planning and zoning's thought on it was. So that, in a nutshell, is your general cannabis ordinance. And then we turn our attention to some zoning ordinances in order to allow the low potency stuff to be sold at bars, gas stations, convenience stores, retail shops. It does entail some ordinance changes. Specifically, we'd be changing the commercial district, commercial 1, commercial 2, essentially your downtown area, to allow these, again, the low potency stuff, not the high potency stuff. Low potency stuff could be sold at those establishments as an accessory to retail sale. So essentially what that means is you can't have a pot shop, but I mean, you can sell some of this low potency stuff as an accessory to booze or to groceries or anything else, but it has to be an accessory sale. Does all that make sense? And then the last ordinance is, that's going to be where your dispensary, the high potency stuff is going to go. We've got that at the agricultural district, which is on the north, kind of northwestern side of town.
Nowhere.
Yes. Yeah. I don't even know if there's a road that goes there.
No.
I think there's a platted road, but
Yeah, imaginary roads.
So are you still allowed to grow a certain amount of plants too?
yes. Yep, we can have, I believe it's 8.
I don't know that we have any control over that.
We don't have any control over
It's all
that.
state.
But yes,
Well, there's a limit on it.
Right.
correct. And I believe it's 8.
You can't put it in the North 80 or nothing.
Well, you can, but it can't be more than 8.
Far apart.
I think it has to be fenced in too.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not visible to public or kids or that sort of thing. But I think it is capped at 8 plants. Yeah. And you can't sell it. Can't do it. You can't grow it for retail sale. So it's not like you can open up an online shop, or I had that come up in another setting, but no, you can't do that.
What about give it away?
In certain situations, yes, you can give it away.
So literally what the planning and zoning committee was trying to do was create something for the time being, because there's so many unknowns
Correct.
until the state actually comes out with their final edition.
And you do have your moratorium in place. That will end January 2025. So, I mean, you guys are sitting pretty good on this. The state was supposed to get us proposed ordinances. They still haven't done that. So, we're a little bit ahead of the curve on this, but better to be ahead than behind.
Basically, all the city has control over where they zone it and where you can.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, exactly. Where these things can go, how many licenses should be issued, and hours of operation.
She had a question for her.
Just to clarify, have you guys, because you were talking about 1,000 feet from a school, you have MNCS on one side and the elementary on the other.
That's
Has there
for
been a measurement to see close they are to downtown?
Well, that's for low potency. And that's,
No, the high potency.
the high potency is zoned to be out 2 miles from nowhere,
Okay.
out here. I mean, literally, that's a placeholder, so we have total control over anybody coming to us and want to license in Henderson
Okay.
until we know exactly what the state is going to come up with. So, yeah, nothing for high potency is allowed in commercial. It's all agricultural.
And that distance wouldn't pertain to, like, say, if Wagers wanted to sell something that might be lower? like-
Right, the lower stuff, no. Right.
Thank you, I was just.
Well, we want to not make.
We haven't collected a little bit.
I was like, it's a small town, 1,000 feet is just
Well-
anywhere.
Now, you'd be surprised how far 1,000 feet goes, though.
There's an ordinance in place for adult entertainment,
Yes.
because about 30 years ago, there was a move to, in these small towns, to test the laws. And what they had to do was zone out gentlemen's clubs. So actually, we have that ordinance in place. And there is one spot about 12 feet wide in the middle of Main Street where you could have a gentlemen's club.
This isn't quite that street.
Not the old hippie building, is it?
Right, right.
No, that's too close to I think that's too close to New Country School. Yeah, it could be a barber shop.
So does all of this make sense?
It all makes sense. All right, so at that,
So what you guys would do today then, and if nobody has any questions, you could either table this, or you could accept it as the first reading and schedule a public hearing. It's really up to you guys. I don't see that there's necessarily any rush on this.
So we have a moratorium until the December 31st, and then this would become effective January 1st, 2025. Okay.
Correct. Yep. So you've got plenty of time on this.
I say we call this the first reading and set a public hearing for the next meeting
Yeah, that sounds
and
good.
just move forward with it, get it done.
Sure.
I agree.
Sounds good.
All right, so take a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion made, carried.
Kim, you'll notice the paper on the public hearing.
All right.
Anything, one other thing I should probably mention, Mr. Merkin's here, we might as well address it. We do have several properties that are currently charged with formally charged with public nuisance. I think right now we got 2 or 3 of those. I want to say we're up to 14 or 15 of those that the police department has been active with. There has been some improvement, but it's a long-term battle, and a lot of times what you'll see is there's improvement for the short term, and then 1 year to 2 years later, it's something to keep on top of. With Henderson, you guys haven't done a whole lot of nuisance enforcement up until the past year or so, it's been a bit of a challenge on a couple of those parcels.
Yes, sir.
But there are 2 or 3 right now that are formally charged and have court dates.
All right.
But you guys gotta remember, we're a lot of people, if you've lived here your whole life, we're all practically hillbillies, and we literally get stuff, and then, like this ordinance you guys got for like a couple of vehicles, like I don't know, if I see a vehicle, I'll buy it, but if I get an extra vehicle, I'm gonna have it. I mean, if it's gonna sit there, it's gonna sit there. There shouldn't be anybody telling you that the vehicle can't sit there. And there's tons of people that have vehicles sitting in their yard.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, like, there comes a point, I understand And stuff accumulates and that's, but I mean, come on, there's gotta be a gift. We're Henderson, we're not a housing, you guys are turning into a housing association.
I don't think
You're turning Henderson into a housing.
I don't think we're quite that bad.
You're getting there. Like, there's people moving out of town right now that are literally pissed off because
Thank you for your input, David. Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
All right. All right. City Administrator.
Yep, so we'll start with the flood RFP. Probably had about 5 people contact me with that information to responded. Chase Green Construction was a little $45,909.
How much?
$45,909. Next page has his estimate there. To look at that, but I would suggest accepting this one.
Well, of course we will.
I think there are a couple options on there as well that are not included in this $45,909. I don't think that's something we decide very comfortable to, but it would add probably an additional $3,000.
Is this all reimbursable for?
I would think that most of this should be, even the extras, from what I understand, we should all still be well within that realm.
Okay.
This has not been presented to FEMA yet.
Okay.
We gave them an estimate from something that we had previously. Cost of everything's gone up quite a bit, so this is well above that. That was expected. This will go to them.
And you got the re-landscaping down by Brenner's Park where that comes, we talked about with the sods, where they dug the trench through to get the water to run across. Down by the school.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Under Park Ditch, yep,
Included in this.
$8,785. It's on there. And then what's Sally Excavate, what did they do?
Yeah, that was the only other bid that I received. He was well above, obviously.
I was gonna say, that's a good chunk of change, but what did they do? I mean, I'm sorry, I guess I
This
just,
is their estimate to do
Like-
it for us.
to do it.
Yes.
This is
Yes,
from the.
we haven't done
This
it.
hasn't been done yet.
This is all
This is
clean up
all-
after the flood.
This is just a quote.
So those were the 2 bids.
I thought it was, that was,
They were
Because they're-
much higher than
yeah. Holy buckets. Yeah, I guess we,
Yeah, it is. Chase, you looked a lot of money up too.
They're right.
should have had it compared to Sally.
All right. So are we accepting this?
Make the motion to approve
All right.
Chase Beanie's bid.
Authorize the
Second.
execution of this quote. Motion made and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Did you want to do the add-ons as well, just the first part, or think about that?
So are we getting FEMA funding for some of this stuff?
This will all go to FEMA, there is no guarantee yet.
That we'll get it.
On that, but
Typically,
it's going to go with.
The add-on is exactly what?
I'm not sure exact, but it would be, what was that, Chase, around 3,000?
Yeah.
clean out
For
silt
doing,
and
for
Cedar
doing
Creek.
what?
Just under 3.
Is that the park down by Bender Park is the add-on?
Yeah, I think there's 2 of them on there.
So one of them's on Cedar Street.
Oh,
You
okay.
can take it from, like Markham's by his place, all the way to North 7.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
Clean out the creek.
I noticed that whole creek is, it's got
That needs to be
a
done.
silt in it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be
Usually
done.
we have that done every year by city or.
We cleaned out right by the road.
Yeah, that, no, that hasn't been done for a while. And it needs to be done.
The other extra one would be at the outlet of Cedar Creek there,
Yeah,
on the east side of North Fifth.
Yeah.
That fills up.
yeah,
So
When
that's,
that fills up, it just fills up the whole ditch along the lake.
yeah.
Well, if there's a little bit of a pond area there, at least the city could just
maintain that once a year if they had to, instead of tearing up the whole ditch all the way down the part. At least after a big rainfall or something if they had to.
Yeah.
So that's also additional?
That's the,
That's included with that 3,000, right?
Well, it's actually coming in at 4,089 or whatever take.
Yeah, let's
There's
do
three
it
of them on there, yeah.
all. Do it all. All right.
the only other question I got is on the Better Park ditch. Now that there's a scoreboard in the right field line of the east field, I guess, or southeast field, what would be the best option to get into that ditch now?
Did they come for city approval for that?
For the scoreboard.
Yeah. Because I didn't know about it.
That was some time ago, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, there is a way to push the material. The ditch is open, but to be able to get a truck in there, we won't be able to go all the way in there anymore because of the scoreboard. But I don't really want to come around on the north side because then the bike trail is there and that's not made for trucks. So I didn't know if we could just pop I haven't looked at the fence by the scoreboard, if we can just pop a panel out and just drive.
Probably reasonable to do it that way.
I mean, and of course, it's gonna be rough, but we'll just have to fix that as we go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the only way to do it. Yeah.
When did they put the scoreboard?
4 years ago? 3 years ago? 3, 4? I mean, I knew they were replacing the big one. I didn't know they were adding one.
The one he had is for the other field, I believe.
All right. Activity update?
Yeah, just a couple updates. Second meeting with FEMA a couple weeks ago, basically getting everything set up for all the grants, all the stuff that goes with that. That'll be starting very soon. Let's see, we should set that election canvassing date. We only have this meeting next to do that, but it has to fall between November 8th and 15th. I would probably suggest the Wednesday, November 13th. It's the week before the council meeting.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's see. Going down, we're now getting into audit budget and all that stuff. We can talk about that later. Grants, we did have a meeting on trees a couple of weeks back. I believe the recommendation is to go about 20 feet in from the edge of the road. That'll take in about 100 trees, which is what we qualify for with DNR for reimbursement. That could get started in October. Next step would be to notify all those adjacent homeowners, start looking at tree purchases. It should come in under 25,000, so I don't think there needs to be an RFP that goes with that. Should just be a start a negotiation on that. Move trees in October, plant again in the spring with all the rest. Probably 112 trees we're looking at to put back in. That's about it. I think I would probably advise that if, once I send those letters out to those adjacent homeowners, some of them are going to come back and say they don't want that tree removed. That's probably something that's okay, but I would probably maybe consider having them sign something that says this is
Their tree, if they claim it's their tree, it's their tree.
Yeah, it's their
Going
tree.
forward.
Yeah.
So do they have to have something, a legal form set up for them?
Probably, I mean, I can talk to Jason eventually about that and see what that turns into.
So what would be the repercussions if they don't remove, I mean,
Well, it's
not
gonna
like they're
cost-
gonna get in trouble, but would
They're
it
gonna pay for it.
affect
They're gonna pay
other
for it.
trees?
Then it's their baby after this is done, yeah.
Something happens, they have to
There
take
won't
care
be
of it.
public funding to take out down their tree later on.
It was recommended to treat several trees at Bender Park. I think they're important trees. They're big
Yeah.
trees. They're in the perfect place. I mean, Matt said he's already tried to treat them he's gonna see what happens with that. It's pretty cheap and inexpensive what he's doing right now, so I think that's appropriate. We don't have to spend all this money until like 2027, so if that tree does, we can save a little bit extra for those 3 or 4 trees that we're gonna consider keeping. But yeah, I would probably say that 20 feet from the edge of the road is appropriate, if that's...
That's what we discussed, and that's what he made his list on. I think it's appropriate. But Matt did say that the sooner we decide what we're gonna replant, the better off we are, because it will be hard to
Yep. And I
fill
think-
in order.
Right,
Did he
Terry.
have recommendations on what we should get?
We have a list of trees, and Terry Bovee is working on
Perfect.
recommendations for placement on
Okay,
certain trees in certain places. So,
okay.
And then, should know by the end of this month on that workforce housing development grant. Still haven't heard anything on that, so don't really know how that's going. Hopefully the next couple of weeks. Probably next month, we're gonna have to look at 24, 25 snow removal, if you want to continue on with Chase Bailey. We'll look at that then.
We have some cost averages between last year and year to choose, but the year before versus
Yeah, we can put something together that basically
what our actual costs of the city to run this time.
I think we might want to consider doing the same thing for lawn care next year too, because that's pretty expensive as well. Probably over 40,000 this year on grass. But we'll look at that next year for sure. That's all I have for that part.
okay, the mayor. I talked to, Lon and I last week went about the Highway 93 project meeting and County Road 6 project meeting. And they are totally different in mood. It's kind of depressing to go to the 93 meeting, but it's uplifting to go to the County Road 6 meeting. Because County Road 6, their intention is to have it open on gravel for us all winter. And then they'll be essentially complete with the dirt work and blacktop to follow next season. Highway 93, they are, it's a mess. And it's not.
Did they ask for another year extension?
Oh, I think they have. I don't know if Minda has awarded it yet. I think it's right. Well, I don't know if it's gonna make any difference. I mean, if they don't get it done, they don't get it done.
Right, but do they get fined for not getting it done?
Yeah, they'll have, yeah. So.
Working late last night out there, I heard tracks rattling out
They
there.
probably were, and they're hitting situations where they can't, where it's gonna have to be a design change in order to get above the water, in order to build the road, and the water in the hole, and it's a mess. So, MnDOT's redrawing and reconsidering. We did talk about Ridge Road, and they will reestablish that in gravel for the winter. So,
Because wasn't that in contract? It could be
It is.
closed for 100 days
yeah, they'll get an extension on 100 days.
because of flooding. I
But
get
that was intended, that part of the project was always intended to be relatively last. But when they couldn't work anywhere else, then they came in and started that. So Ridge Road we'll get it reestablished and be able to actually have some traffic up and down the
You
drain.
get it reestablished, but is that gonna be exactly where it's gonna be, or is it gonna be?
Probably not, no. No, because it's,
I wonder how that's gonna hold up with moisture.
well, probably not well. But, yeah. But to get the road
I
bed,
had a few calls on that too, and I said, I don't believe that's part of Jeremy's job, Oh, I never spoke, no, I said, that's the 93.
the bottom part, yeah, that's, the jerkies went to there.
Right, they did their part.
They did their part.
Yeah. Well, and that's why they really need to reestablish something, so at least we have some control over the way the water comes
Yeah.
down there. And, what else? Oh, Army Corps of Engineers has initiated a study of the area watershed. Hasn't been one been done since 2002, so this is a new study that will basically review every part of it, siltation, flow, vegetation, stuff like that. So at least we'll have data. So
Good.
we probably won't know anything till perhaps late next year.
So along with that, do they have any plans for removing trees and the same? That's in that study.
That's really, yeah. Well, until we have data, we can't tell them, get them to do anything, so. That's what I know. City council? Ann?
No, I just have an update on splash pad. I went to the Lions meeting last week asking, because we're planning some fundraisers, we need to raise some money for the splash pad. So we asked the Lions if they would do a bingo for us or let us use their gambling license. They agreed to do a bingo for us in November and donate the proceeds to the splash pad. And they will also donate the proceeds from the spaghetti feed that's coming up to the splash pad. And then we plan on resubmitting our DNR grant in the spring.
Good. All right, moving on. Back to you.
Yep, we'll start with bills.
All right, bills look okay?
I think a note on that, we're obviously paying Jerky their 9th pay. The invoice for the new squad came in, paid that this month, and then we're seeing elevated costs in the city of sewer for treatment. A lot of that is because of the flood. It took a long time for that water to go back down, so it's still high. So it was another 33,000 this month, and it's usually 14 to 18. So last month was also 33-ish as well. So
Can you submit that stuff to FEMA?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, none of that will go, but there is a time limit on that stuff. So really, there'll be some calculations to determine how much that is. It won't be all of that 60-some thousand. Total this month will be a little over 435,000. Cash balance right now, as of August 31st, is 676,786, a little change. As of today, I think there's 700,000 cash out of Town Bank, 75,000 First State Bank. We'll expect, we'll get more on this later, but you're still having property taxes and local government aid and all that stuff coming in December. We expect to have a cash balance at the end of the year, maybe 150 to 200,000. Take a motion on this cash balance and then on to bond.
I make a motion to pay the bills.
A second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion made and carried.
And then we'll get into some budget stuff here. Let's see. The balance sheet, that's essentially the exact same stuff I just talked about there. That's where it was at the end of August, at the 683 number. But the sheet after that, that's going to be a proposed levy for 2025, which is next year. We're recommending an 8% increase. As far as I'm aware, that's on the lower end of what everyone else is doing in the area. So I think that's well appropriate. That 250 fund, that's the EDA fund. We're going to definitely have to increase that levy up to 80,000 for the next 2 years, and then 85,000 for 2 years after that as well. That's all to start to pay down that EDA loan as we go through the next 5 years or so. 290 is library. That's just going to go down a little bit because they have cash on hand for next year. 301, $100,000 is dropped off of that because there's bonds going out. Other bonds come on. So next year that'll be 30,000 to pay for some other bonds that come out of 301. 307, 312, 315, next 5 years. 318 is the new equipment certificate. 315 is the new tax abatement. 318 will start next year at $65,000, and that'll continue for 10 years. 315 will start $30,000 next year, increasing to $45,000 after that, and that'll continue through 2043. 375 goes out. I have 413 and 414. They're not going to start bond or levy next year, but they will the following years. 413 is tied to the levy bill that we paid in March of this year for that that added portion of the Department of Transportation required us to pay was about $166,000. We'll see how that works out, but the $60,000 or 27, 28, and 29 would pay for that balance to come out of 414. 414, that's going to be trails, parks, DNR stuff. That $100,000 will come out of 26 and 27 in total. That essentially is going to be what will be paid for next year for the 18 grant match and any other parks projects that go forward. So 25, that's an 8% increase, and then it's going to probably look at 12% and then 10% after that. 28, 29, I didn't put much stock in those because it's probably a decrease, but we're going to take a look at that as we get closer. Next page after that is just some bond notes, debt notes related to this debt leaves. After that are the actual revenue and expenditure budget for 2025. This only takes a look at our general fund, EDA, the library, and our debt service. Utility stuff is not in here. We'll look at that later on this year. But I won't go through all of this line item, but I can say that as we have it right now, I have budgeted in for a couple of things that are going to change. Salary is one of the big ones. I have included in this increase, included this 8% levy, a salary position in the city administrator's office that essentially become an operations manager and a deputy city clerk. This is something that was talked about probably over the last 2 years, but we've been kind of postponing this a little bit as we go along. I think next year it's really starting to become appropriate, and I would really like to see that in there. I've also included a small 3% cost of living increase. If you choose to get it, it's available in that. There's also increases in police department salary. At the start of this year, there was some changes from the 23 when we set budget in December of 23, which caused some of those salaries to increase because salaries had increased, and that's what happened there. Overall, for the entire year, salaries coming in on budget as expected because we did not add on that second salary position. So salary is working out fine. Officer Koski will get a raise as his 1-year anniversary on November 1st, going from $30 to $35 an hour. I will get an increase per my contract beginning in January for $3,600 a year. And so that's where most of that is. Salary, I think overall, has increased the levy in the general budget by about $40,000, which is very good. I think that's fine. There's going to be increases in insurance, property insurance especially. Those property values essentially doubled since the last time we looked at that. And so we're expecting a $16,000 increase. I don't know what those are line item yet. They have not told me what that is, but we're going to expect $16,000. Could be less, I think. Probably won't be more. And then there's also a built-in maybe 3% across for vehicle insurance and more stuff. Utilities, there's going to be a deficit in 2025. I'm going to recommend a $15 per month increase. That would be $10 to water and $5 to sewer. That won't take us out of the deficit, but it'll continue to work that, and then we'll probably consider more increases in 26 and beyond to start to take down debt for the street project. Those are likely to continue for some time, but we're really going to be waiting on this utility rate study to come out. Ellers is still working on that, so we're going to revisit rates at the end of this year. So $15 is my recommendation now. I don't think it could go lower than that. Could it go higher? Maybe, depending on what they say, but it really just depends on what you guys want to do in December when we set those. Overall, the non-utility budget is balanced to the revenue and expenditures next year. Show you what that is. And then let's see, we'll move on past that. We'll look at, I have the utility rate sheet here showing those increases. Water rates themselves stay the same. They haven't changed in, I think, many years as far as I know. Go from 30 to 40 in water. We'll go from 20 to 25 in sewer. The minimum residential bill then for next year for everything would be $127.31. Again, we can set these in December, but this is probably what we're looking at for now. Sheet after that, that's the current Henderson rates and fees that we have for liquor licenses, what we're charging for Allison's, franchise fees, how we're working on utilities, late fees and reconnections, and what our building inspector charges. I can also add on, I talked to Rick, what their fire charges are.
Yeah.
We'll post that online. Jim is recommending requiring if he continues on through 25, that his permit fee is going to go from 75% to 85%. His plan review, he'll keep 100% of that. His fixed permit fees would go from 70 to 80. He has that his administration fee will go to 35, but it's already at 35. He's not going to increase it further. His hourly rate remains at 80. Those are essentially all the rates, utility fees, inspections, and our preliminary tax levy and budget. If you have questions, take those. Otherwise, we move on to the resolution.
Move on.
Resolution 2024-21, resolution adopting the proposed 2025 City of Henderson tax levy. 2025 levy will be $661,000 overall. This would then set the public hearing for Wednesday, December 18th, here in this meeting room. The public is allowed to speak and testify on this tax levy. I'm looking for a motion to adopt.
I will so move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion made and carried.
The next resolution, resolution 2024-22, a resolution adopting the 2025 proposed budget. This one is going to accept that proposed budget. Again, in December, it will turn into actual budgets, not just proposed, after we have a chance to go through all this again. This will also allow City Clerk Treasurer to zero out those balances, that close those funds that no longer have a balance, transfer funds to other funds that require those balances. And that will all be taking effect then as of December 31st of this year. And I would be looking for a motion to adopt this resolution.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion made and carried. All right.
We should, one more, on the back here. We should talk a little bit about that. I didn't have this earlier. And so with all of that, we're going to have cash at the end of the year, but in February 1st, there will be bond payments due right around $700,000. At that point, we won't have $700,000, and so we will be taking on tax anticipation certificate through Ellers. Todd is working on that now. That the city is legally allowed to borrow warrants based on the 3-year average. plus at about 10%. So we'd be eligible to take the certificate on at $635,000. We anticipate right now that we'll need $550,000, and that would start April 1st of next year for this part. We'll probably be on warrants fairly early. That'll be on our own essentially until this would take effect. A little higher interest rate through the bank than we would get here. But if you start this a little bit later, then how we pay this back is a little bit longer and things work out better that way. I would expect short-term interest next year to be $20,000 to $25,000 to cover these debt payments and the funding, the way it's working here. There's no action needed on this tonight, but that's going to come up fairly soon.
All right. And
Did we,
You did it, you can, we're going to put it again in December.
I'm glad that we put, or that's in the budget to get you some help.
I appreciate that.
all right, any old business? New business? Revised meeting schedule. Yeah.
Let's see, the only thing I have right now, we'll add on the hearing.
Yeah.
And then we'll want to do a personnel meeting in October to start talking about next year and essentially this position that I'll start to put together. I'm going to suggest October 9th. That's a Wednesday. Around 4:30.
Can we start earlier?
We can start if you want.
Because
I think Bruce is...
I have something at 6, so I'd
Yeah.
like to start earlier. I can get off work early.
Is Alex first and he gets done at 3:30.
Okay.
That's fine.
3:30.
So we start at 3:30?
Fire meeting on 3:30. There it is. I'll just do the motion.
So move.
Second.
Motion made, seconded, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion made and carried. Did we set the general election candidates?
That would be the next one, is to set the general election candidate date.
And you were saying the 13th,
Well,
11/13?
yeah, it was the Wednesday before.
Yeah.
I'm positive on that.
Well, Saturday's the 9th, 10th.
Yeah, that'd be the 13th.
Yep, it would be the 13th.
Let's do it a different day.
No, the 9th is my birthday.
Oh, okay.
Me and Spiro,
So on November 13th, what time did you want to start? We can start as early as 6 o'clock.
that's fine.
I have something on Wednesday nights, but that's fine.
It's gonna take, what,
I'll just
2 minutes?
miss my stuff.
You just go, you
That's,
view
that'll
the
be the
results.
results. Look at the results and,
Yeah.
yep. It won't take very long.
Okay.
All right.
Whichever time you like, but 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
I think that's all I have.
Did we get a motion for that?
Yeah.
All right, I'll make a motion.
A second.
Motion made, seconded, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion made, carried.
What time did we pick? 6?
All right, I'm gonna adjourn the meeting.